Hey, welcome to an afternoon edition of Tony Talks Trash About Music. We've got our great friend here, Jay Stickley, to help us traverse through the Led Zeppelin catalog. Led Zeppelin, of course, omnipresent when we were young, and really was kind of a big deal. They were the first behemoth rock act. I never did get to see them live. I did have tickets one time, never got to go. Um, how about you, man? Did you ever get to see Zeppelin live?
No, I was supposed to see him at Capitol Center that one time. I think it was
The one
Spike
time when
Lee.
Bottom died?
I think they actually played. No, I forget why we didn't get to go. I think it was Spike screwed it up or something. Did they play down there in 77 or 78? Anyway,
Yeah,
no, I did not
one
see
of
them.
the, I think 77. I think they toured in 77. I don't think they toured in 78. Yeah, 77 were those long shows where they're playing all that present stuff.
No, I never caught him either.
I like those, man. They got so many great. The one thing about Led Zeppelin is, and you guys probably know if you're hardcore fans, but they have so many great recorded bootlegs. It's funny they were so funny about. You see those videos on YouTube of Peter Grant threatening people's lives, and bootlegs, and some of the shit that you heard. But then it turns out, now that all the tapes have made the rounds. I mean, I have so many great CD bootlegs of just audio file quality right off the board, man. They were very well recorded band, you know.
You probably don't remember. When we were in high school, I mentioned that I hadn't listened to much other Led Zeppelin. We were probably in ninth grade. And you gave me every album they had up to that point that you recorded on 8 track.
Oh boy, there was I still dealing 8 track at that point. It's
Yeah.
funny. My God. Well, very nice. I'm nice to know that I was consistent with that. Yeah, I still, you look now and it's what's so interesting. Another interesting thing about him is that that's a shame when Bonham died. And I like some of the rougher edge music, some of the stuff that people think maybe isn't the best, most popular stuff. But as you'll see from my ratings, but I something about him. I liked during some of the rough end period. It's just a shame that it ended when it did. But I would say, man, I did kind of hope that they would have toured with that reunion when they did that O2 or the Oz or whatever it's called concert they did in 2000 or
Right.
2000.
I
That
think
was
when you're like us, like graduated in 1977, we played a lot of catch up. I think the first
yeah.
Zeppelin album I heard or bought was Led Zeppelin 4, and then you say, okay, I gotta get the other ones. So, and a lot of how much I like an album is when I got it and what I was doing. But we'll get into that. But yep, Led
Yeah,
Zeppelin was big in
if that's it's funny you triggered my first impression of it too. I remember I went down as a kid, and this is before I was listening to any FM or any album station music. It was a thrill for me just to hear the top 40. I actually kept notebooks of that up till I was older. But I remember I went down to my cousin's house, and my cousin's house in Baltimore uh, had two kids. They had Mickey and uh, a guy called Beaver. There was my cousin, and I remember when I was young, we slept in this other thing, and I remember he had Led Zeppelin 4, and I was just sat in my bedroom spellbound. I was just listening to the songs, all the Battle War and all this stuff going by. It was really really fantastic, but he's still acting out in Hollywood some, and
Oh, cool.
his name's Ron Shanklin. He's done some stuff on some. He does a lot of. He's been on some commercials, been on some stuff, but he's been at Lifer and worked with some big talent out there. But he was the first time I heard that music, and I never told him that at the time. I was kind of thinking to listen, but I couldn't believe it. He played the whole album. It must have just come out because I couldn't have been any more than 11 or 12 years old.
Oh, in
Anyway,
1971, yeah,
that was big time.
I would have been 12, and I'm sure I heard Stairway to Heaven on WKLP, Moby
Uh,
Dick.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, Moby Dick turned me on to a lot of stuff too. I have to tell you
Yeah.
about the
And if you
blues.
knew him, you could make a request and you would know he would play it.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, man. He was cool. And he used to. They actually had a sandwich shop that was across from my house there, catty cornered when it was downtown there beside the parking lot there in the
What
park.
kills me, the whole time growing up, I never got the double entendre. The sexual Moby Dick Long thing. It was just, I knew his name was
Oh,
Dick Long. I was like, that's funny, Moby Dick.
That's
how we
funny. That
progress.
sounds like one of those ones like that would have worked in industry. Maybe he could have had like that other one that Clarence Thomas liked or whatever it was. Anyway, man, yeah, let's get started with this thing, man. For I get in trouble, but love the band, especially love Jimmy Page. I think he's such a good guitar player. People they say sloppy, man. He was fucking inventive as hell. I think he's great. But anyway, we've got 9 records here that we're ranking. There should be 9. You've got 9 on there, Jay?
Actually, I have 10 because I forgot we're not supposed to use the live one.
Okay, take the live
I'll
one out.
figure it out.
Number, give me your number 9, man.
Then my number 9 is Coda.
Okay, dude. Dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
and like I said, I rank them too in 1982. That's when I was graduating college and going into the Air Force. I'm sure I bought this probably 3 years after it came out, not when it came out. So I got into it late, but it's the 3 songs I liked on there, like Poor Tom, and I forget the others, but like it was amazing. The best songs on there that I like, I found out later they were outtakes from one of my favorite Led Zeppelin albums, Led Zeppelin 3. But yeah, and it was like, what did I think? Can't
Well,
Quit You Baby was the
yeah, the track list
cover
worked
that they
through.
did.
Yeah, Ozone Baby, Darlene, I Can't Quit You, Baby.
Yeah, and like
Walters,
it's my number 9 because it was probably the last Zeppelin album I bought until the reissues after we got older and found out how cool we were in the 70s.
well, if that's your number 9, man,
Yeah,
my number 2. We're the same on this one here. This is an outtake thing and a situation where they tried to do get the best of what they had left. It's questionable whether or not we should even really count it as a real
right. The
thing
band was gone.
done. But like you say, some of it is really good. We're gonna groove. I like Poor Tom too. They're the same way as you. I like Ozone Baby too. Uh, Wearing and Tearing I like too. So I mean, it's a decent record, but it's definitely if you're gonna line them all up, there's no question. I would think that most people would agree that this would be number 9, man. On to your number 8. And now we get in a situation where once you get rid of Coda, now we're in a situation where when you say somebody can get pissed off about it, but you're just gonna get pissed about it. But you go ahead, Jay. You're
Okay, my number 8 is 1976, Presence.
oh boy.
Yes, the first thing, I hated the cover. I thought it was a stupid cover. That family staring at, it was like, what is this, 2001 A Space Odyssey, Led Zeppelin, but we're going to go in the music. So I remember Presence, we're doing it, was like, also the way, I love Achilles' Last Stand. Wasn't that the real long song?
That's the first song on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And I like, it was great. But then after that, I remember they had Hot Song for Nowhere and all that. And I didn't find out till later on. I don't think there was any keyboards on it or acoustic guitar at all. So, when you see my favorite Zeppelins, that's some of the things I like. But yes, my number 8 was Presence. And,
Royal Orleans, Nobody's Fault But Mine, Candy Store Rock,
yeah,
Hudson, where T for One was the mellow one at the end there, the ballad at the end. Okay, man. Yeah, number 8. I would think that would be mostly where some people would go with that. Now I'm probably going to upset you when I talk about my number 8, but Nine Lives was a record that was released where you could get all kind of different covers, and those different kind of covers, all were different. Talking about
and,
the one that has a lot of keyboards in it.
and on the
The
inside,
Outdoor, the reported record where Jimmy Page was
you
kind of
can
out
paint,
of it a little bit. And
you can paint with water on the inside cover.
well, there's different ones. I have a bunch of I do. I've got the inside one too. I've got
It
the
was
inside.
impregnated with paint or something because I ruined mine and did it.
Did not do mine, but I've
Yeah.
got a couple different ones of this. I like it in the evening. I like, but I don't like Four in the Rain's okay. Hot Dog, I don't like at all. Carry On, I don't like. All My Love, I really don't like. I'm gonna crawl. Okay. So I mean, I just don't. It sounds to me like oh, we got through. We got enough to get this record done. Out. It did well. A lot of people like it. A lot of fans of it. I know you're more of a fan of it, man, but that's my number 8, The Outdoor.
Okay, so now this would be number 7, right?
Yep.
And it's In Through the Outdoor. Even as much as I liked it, I liked it. It was like probably my number one Plant and Jones album. You know what I mean? I like this album a lot, but when I rate it among the other Led Zeppelin albums, I know it's is it Zeppelin or not? But I'm like you. I like "Fool in the Rain." I really did like that song. Probably because I had some friends told me a story one time that he was the fool in the rain.
Yep.
I'm sorry you're breaking up.
I don't like all of my
No,
love. That's the
I
deal.
like All My Love too and Cares for Lumber. I like it all the Jonesy, the arrangements he did. And it was like one of them albums. Like when I bought it, was it like '79? I mean, it was just a chill album with put it on
Yeah.
and it really sounded good on my stereo. I can remember
Yeah.
that.
So that
Wow. But yep,
was
that's my number 7, In Through the
that was
Outdoors.
7. Well, I'm going to surprise a lot of people maybe by this one, but if anybody cares, my number 7 because, and I recognize it was a great thing when it happened, but to me, it's a little more mono effect than it is wide stereo effect. And I'm talking, it was a great effect. I'm talking about the first record, Led Zeppelin, Your Time Is Gonna Come, uh Dazed and Confused. This is the foundation of it all. Communication Breakdown, how many times? Great record. From here on in, it's really hard to say what's good and what's not good. I love them all. They all had a place growing up. We did
And
play catch, like you say. When I got about the when I guess House is the Holy was about between that time. I remember buying Physical Graffiti new. I remember buying Presence new. I remember buying out In Through the Outdoor new. But I don't remember before that I knew. I think I played catch up with it before.
Yeah,
After
and that's what I mean. You got to take into account because, like, in
House,
'69 when they came out, I was 10 and you were 9. I didn't have any albums other than like the
I
Red Baron Christmas album.
four. Yeah, I got four after I got.
45.
Yeah, I got four after I got some other albums when I got a stereo about that time when I got a couple other albums. I did get that as an early
Before
record.
we could rip off Columbia House for 11 albums, 50
Yeah,
times.
not about that. For some reason, I don't think they were in those, but maybe they were. I mean, but anyway, yeah, that's my number 7. The first one, I realize it's monumental. I realize it's great. I realize that for the time it was something else. But I have to put them all somewhere, and so I'm talking about my favorite. And so my favorites puts the debut Led Zeppelin, which is great, arguably a 5-star record. Other than saying that they wrote songs they didn't write, Blues Guys, but I would put that at number 7 for me.
Okay, so number 6. For me, number 6 was 1975 Physical Graffiti. I really love the color. It was like, there was a lot of great covers in Led Zeppelin's day, but and was that 2 or 3 albums? I know it was
Oh,
2.
the double.
Double album, right? And it's my number 6. Of course, it had Cashmere on it, which I was never a big fan of Cashmere. I didn't get the. Yeah, it had a little Middle Eastern tinge to it, but other than that, it was a bit repetitive to me. But yeah,
Just Pie, The Rover, In My Time of Dying, I'd one.
still, I know it was more of a headphones. My Zeppelin to me is what I wanted to put in the car and ride around on. And this is one of those songs. Like I said, it's number 6, so I'm
It's
not
been
rating it
good.
down. But and I always like Stu's Boogie just because I found out it was who it was about from the Rolling
Yeah.
Stones.
But 10 Years Gone, I love Bron In the Light, Night Flight.
Ron.
Again, I like a lot of these songs. But we'll come back
Yeah,
to
but
this
looking
again. What'd you
now, I
say?
say looking back on them, they run together in my mind. I can know the album and put it on the headphones. It was one of those albums. It was one of those albums I listened to as an album. The sides. As,
Yeah.
as we get
The-
as we get more close to the top, I just
yeah.
realized it. I wouldn't play songs off my favorite albums as opposed to like listening to it from beginning in. And Physical Graffiti was definitely one I put the headphones on and listened, that and Houses of Holy. Okay. But number 6 was Physical Graffiti.
That's number 6. Now I do not have, I'll confess to everybody, I do not have the Robert Kraft mixed version of this. But I do have and I'm going to give you a funny version of it. I have two of them. I'm going to show you one that I've got from another country here, too. But I'm talking about Led Zeppelin 2, the one with Moby Dick, big one, Moby Dick. Um, you know the drill with these songs. I mean, this is a big record. Whole lot of love. What is what should never be. Lemon Song. Thank you.
It's
I
funny
mean,
how we're
great
going.
been made, Ramble on Moby Dick. It's a great record. But to me, once again, dude, this almost falls into that category I told you before of records that I know so well that I never have to hear anymore. Because I got into this one, I got into it, I burned it out. I listened to it, I loved it, especially the remember what is and what should never be, the tone of that guitar and the sound
And
of
once
the
again, it
keyboard.
came out in '69.
Yeah,
This is one of their catch-up albums.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got it later. Right. I got it later, but I remember when I got it, it was really, I love the dynamic the way they swelled up and down in some of these songs. And that's one thing that kind of separated them were to their dynamic. And so maybe if I got a Robert Kraft or Robert, whatever it was, mix, uh, or Robert Ludwig, I'm sorry, I said Kraft, Robert Ludwig mix, one of the hot mixes that they were out of this. The rumor is that Ahmet Ertegun's daughter got it and it made her toy thing skip, so they made him remix it. It was super hot when they first put it out.
Oh,
Hot,
I would like to have dated Ahmet's daughter. I
it's
bet she
true.
had connections.
The one I don't know where this is from. This is from Stereo Record. I can't really tell. You can somebody's have to tell me. Is this Malaysian? Where is it from? Uh, I can't really tell. But anyway, there it is. Version of Led Zeppelin 2. I've never seen it before. For $5 sitting in a Frederick record store. I'm like, of course I'll take that. All right, that's my number 6, man. Led Zeppelin
Okay,
2.
so we're up number 5 for me. Number 5, 1973. And a lot of things I pick on albums too was the covers, and this is one of the coolest covers ever. I think Houses of the Holy. Plus, it was a gatefold album. I always liked that too. Felt like you were getting more for your money, more to read, more to look at. But
We're
yep,
gonna
my
do. We're
number.
gonna make a gatefold ourselves. So
And this was another one of my catch-up albums, 1973.
uh,
I bought it, Houses of the Holy, but I remember Dire Maker. I'd already one of the bands that played at our local armory where we used to go to see these one of our first rock shows. They did a cover. I remember asking someone, "Who's this song?" Oh, that's Dire Maker. I think that's why I went out and bought this. And then, Over the Hills and Far Away. It's another one. This is another album just like Physical Graffiti. When I listened to it, I probably listened to both sides of both albums clear through on my headphones and didn't really distinguish between the songs other than, like I said before, the Dire Maker and that. But that's my number 5.
I love this record. I think this record's really underrated generally by the public. I think it's I think it's did you know did you know that their version when they talked about it later on the video that reason they called it Dire Maker was there's a Jamaica. It's them saying Jamaica. It's trying to be the reggae beat. Oh. So Dire Maker is really pronounced Jamaica.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, it is. It's about Jamaica, which is funny. It makes sense that's all one of the videos. Isn't that funny? And that I didn't know that either. I had that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had that on 45, maybe even. I don't remember, but I remember I love that too.
Is
Everybody.
Dancing Days on there too? How's the
Dan
whole?
Faith is on there too, man.
Yeah, that's another one that I remember
Another
Windfall played that too.
number 5. Number 5. Well, we're gonna go back to number 5, and I'm gonna have a little bit different take than what you have on Presence, man. Because Presence is my number 5. I love Presence. I always have been love Presence. I just like the songs. I'm glad when they came back together and they played that reunion song that they cracked it for so many. They played For Your Love. They played or for Your Life. They played Nobody's Fault But Mine, which I love. The especially the harmonica solo in that. That's fantastic. Um, Achilles' Last Stand, of course, superb. So, yeah, Hot Song for Nowhere, Candy Store Rock, especially. I don't like Hot Song for Nowhere. It's okay. T for One's decent. Royal Orleans, just the stop and start thing. The same thing like they did at the end of the Crunch. You could basically take Royal Orleans and the Crunch, and they'd basically be the same thing. But anyway, man, that's my number 5. Presence. I liked it a little better. Yeah, the cover is weird. The cover art's kind of not the coolest. Doesn't really fit them. It'd be okay if it was a prog rock band. But yep,
Yeah.
that's that.
Okay, so number four for me is 1969, Led Zeppelin one, whatever we call it.
The
And like I
first
said,
one, first one.
yep, the first one, because I got like you know, I, you'll see how I went my top 4. I was all about the songs. I mean, Good times, bad times, babe, I'm gonna leave you. It was like once I got Led Zeppelin 4, I had to go back and do it, and it was just, this is one I would skip
Communication
around on
breakdown.
some songs, but good
Communicate.
times, bad times. I love, like Jimmy Page even talked about that, that dynamic he had where it was hard, soft, quiet, and then ding, kick in. Oh, that
Yeah, you're
sucker me
telling
at the time.
he takes it down with Black Mountain Side, back up with communication
Yeah,
breakdown, and swing really into it. How many more times it gets more strident as a real dynamic to the way they put the side together. But it's just funny how it eclipses what Jeff Beck was doing at the same time with
when
what.
you're 13 and 14, that's what you needed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And so that is your number four, right?
Four, four.
Well, my number four, I'm going to go to the one here with the with the weird cover. That's Led Zeppelin 3, the one you can spin around here. The one is really different from any other record that they made. I mean, you look at this, Friends, Celebration Day, Since I've Been Loving You, Out on the Tiles, I think is a great song. Uh, you've got Gallows Pole, Tangerine, That's the Way. I mean, there's had some what a mellow record, and it really surprised a lot of people when it came out because it was acoustic. But the truth of it is that because of that, I think it shows a flexibility and a diversity that survives actually better through the years. It's born better because of that. So that's going to be my number four is Led Zeppelin 3.
Okay, so next up, number three is another one from 1969 for me. It's Led Zeppelin 2.
All
And
right.
once again, it was all about the singles. I probably bought Led Zeppelin 1, 2, and 3 all at once, but 2, Heartbreaker, Whole Lot of Love, Thank You. I just, I would skip around and play those songs. Like, oh, you got to hear this song. I can't believe it. And it was like, I hadn't heard these on the radio, It's like,
Yeah.
I heard Stairway to Heaven got Led Zeppelin 4, and it's like, oh, they've got 3 other bands. Let's
I think they
do
were a
this
little
root check.
okay, or a little bit exotic for the local.
Yep.
It's a shame.
It wasn't Blues for Cold or Rush. It was just, and in later days, I got what Keith Richards said. It was a little sparse for him.
Whole lot of
Well,
love.
like Into the Outdoor. Oh,
Yeah, whole lot of love. You heard too. You heard that one on there. Heartbreaker,
yep.
something. Live and love, ramble on. Yeah,
Oh,
man.
Ramble On. Yeah, that's another one of those
Yeah.
starts out that slow, boom, 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 and then kicks in. That's what got me on all of them.
Yeah, man. So that's your number three, right?
Great.
Your number three is two, and my number three is going to be the record we just talked about. So I'm not going to have to talk about it much more. Houses of the Holy. Me, my things are irreplaceable on this. We talked about the other song. Is No Quarter. I love No Quarter. No Quarter is like one of my top Zeppelin songs. I love Over the Hills and Far Away and the Rain song too. The ballads on this record I think are super, and the song remains the same. What a strange song the star goes. It's kind of shadows. They do it in a longer version on Achilles' Last Stand, which is the next stand, last stand record. But anyway, that's my number three is House of the Holy Man. On to number two.
Okay, my number two is a 1970 Led Zeppelin 3. And this is another one of those albums. I'm almost like rated in number one in some categories, but I loved all the acoustic on it. And I told you I like the covers. I have two copies of this where the wheel works, and it's just, I just loved it. And Friends and Tangerine.
Yeah.
I just love, once again, it's,
Mine's sealed.
not too
It's
hard. It just,
sealed, but I'm not going to open it up because mine's sealed. It still has
yeah.
how good of a copy I
I
got.
don't know if you know it, there's little cutouts on the front cover, and there's a wheel, and if you spin it,
Oh
different
yeah,
cutouts appear, different pictures appear in the cutouts,
cut out. I can spin it, but that's it. I don't have any. I didn't open the
and a
peel.
lot of acoustic. There's
Yeah,
a lot of acoustic on there.
yeah, it's fantastic. I
That's
agree
my
with
number two. You talked
you.
about it already too.
That's your number two. Well, I'm going to get down here to my number two, and my number two is going to leave one that everybody in the world knows, and one that again is probably going to make it on a list that I have later, which Jay and I've talked about the show conceptually, but I'm talking about Hey Hey Mama said the way you move. Led Zeppelin 4 shook the world. I explained how, in my cousin's place, this
Mhm.
Jim Shanklin's Place that it just Beaver's Place blew my mind. Here's a poem, The Stairway to Heaven, which was mystical. Battle of Evermore, man, Four Sticks. That's the spice of it. Misty Mountain Hop. For some reason, I remember that Scott Davis loves that song.
Going to California.
He loves Misty Mountain Hop too. Yeah, when the levee breaks, one of my favorites too.
Oh man, yeah.
That's my number two, brother. Led Zeppelin 4.
Well, I'm not gonna have to talk about my number one much because my number one is Led Zeppelin 4. It was the first Zeppelin I ever got. Like I said, I was probably riding around in my mom's car in the back seat or something or somewhere, and I heard Stairway to Heaven. And what is this? Let me get the album, and then shortly after that, I probably got 3, 2, and 1. But yep, Led Zeppelin 4. And one of my
And about 11 years old, that would have been about the time that you would have had a bustle in your
And
hedgerow.
my favorite song on that is Black Dog. I just love it. I used to play that at the student union at Potomac State College when I was like a little 11-year-old grunion. We'd go in, act like we knew what we were doing, just feed my quarter in, put Black Dog in. That's
Beautiful,
our theme song. Hey,
beautiful.
mama.
Well, it was an earth-shattering record all around, man. I mean, it changed there from
I
that
see
point.
my, yeah.
They were top and couldn't be equaled.
I
Anyway,
got
man,
tired. I got tired of Stairway to Heaven to the point in 1977 that was the theme of our prom, and I thought how stupid this is.
uh,
That's an old song. We need to be getting into new wave.
true. Well, that leaves my number one, man. And number one, I was surprised that you ranked as far down as you did, but I ranked it, and I guess I have it number one because of the quantity, and that is the big, boisterous physical graffiti, man. I'm just a huge fan of songs like 10 Years Gone, and you know, I like the Bronya, or I like the Boogie Side, of
Don't.
course, Kashmir, House of the Holy, In My Time of Dying, I think super. The Rover super. Down by the Seaside's kind of silly. They could have shed that, but 10 Years Gone to me.
I like that.
The Wanton song, Night Flight, Boogie with Stu. It's kind of silly. I mean, it's not really. It sounds kind
I like this one.
of, but anyway. But that's my number one. A lot of people's number one. I don't know. There's so many people have a different opinion on Led Zeppelin and such a foundational band, man. Any closing remarks you have, Jay?
I mean, come on. If you don't have one and you see one in the cutout bin, buy it because there's not a bad one. Take your
Exactly.
chance.
Yeah, you see it in the used bin.
You
That's
know,
right.
we're ranking them. But,
Yeah,
grab Coda if it's in there.
that's right. If you can pick up code, right? It's hard to find these in any good condition anymore. They've reissued them so many times. It's
Yep.
a little suspicious of the newer pressings. But anyway, that's our take on Led Zeppelin, guys. So we'll be back at you soon for some new stuff, man. Make sure you remember to subscribe if you would, and press the like button. And we always appreciate you being along for the ride. We'll be back at you with another list here before long. Jay and I are going to take a stab at the replacements next. So that's what's one of the ones, and we're going to move on from there, man. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Have a good weekend.
This has been